But when you are in the beginning stages of channeling, of connecting with other beings, it most likely is your closest spirit guides that come forward first. So it's a very pleasurable connection, and you most likely get some names, some visuals, how they present themselves to you. It's a very beautiful, beautiful path to walk on when you're on a spiritual journey. Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome back to a new episode of Rooted in the Cosmos. My name is Isabel Gloria, and I'm a spiritual teacher and a spiritual leadership mentor. I cannot believe that it's already mid of October. I feel like this year has gone by so fast. I feel like January has been 6 weeks ago. It's crazy how time runs these days. Because it's October, we are in spooky season. So this is a little teaser for you. Get ready for a spooky episode this month. It's not going to be this one today, but get ready for a spooky one. I actually started a poll on Instagram asking you what you would love to know more about. And the poll said that you want to learn about ghosts and spirits and entities and all that stuff from a spiritual perspective, and why they're here, what they're meant to do here, and all these things. So this is a little teaser. This is going to be one of the next episodes in October. Get ready for spooky season. But this week, I would love to talk about the cosmic self. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that the cosmic self is a topic that I love to talk about, that is very dear to my heart, and it's one of my core teachings because I see so much value in that for every person who is on a spiritual journey, and also for everyone who is on a spiritual business journey. So I work with people who are on a personal spiritual journey, as well as with coaches who are in the process of creating their spiritual business, or who want to up level their business by embodying it fully and by bringing their own unique energy into their self-expression. So the cosmic self is always an integral part of what I do with my clients, of what I teach, and of what they learn to connect with and to draw their inspiration from, because the cosmic self is basically, it's a higher vibrational or higher dimensional version of you, like a consciousness beyond your human self. And it is more knowledgeable, and it's a more knowledgeable version of you. And it's basically the link between source energy, so God or whatever you want to call it, and your human self. And I've talked about this previously in other episodes, but I feel like it's been almost 2 years since I really recorded an episode about the cosmic self. And I feel like I myself have embodied it so much more, and like the teachings around it, I've embodied them so much more. And I can talk like with a lot more hard energy now, because when I started working with the cosmic self and sharing the concept, it was familiar to me and it was already very embodied. But now that I've grown so much myself in the last couple of years, I feel like it's just the time for a new episode and for bringing up this topic again and highlighting it in one episode, like on its own. So I would love to go through some of the most asked questions, or some of the most important definitions of the cosmic self and how you can connect with it. And I would love to dive in by just sharing a definition, which I already kind of did, but the cosmic self and the higher self could be used interchangeably, so it's not super different. I see a little bit more truth in the term cosmic self, and that's why I started using it, because a lot of people confuse the higher self with like a higher potential that we can reach in this lifetime if we work on ourselves enough, if we do a lot of self-improvement, if we get a spiritual morning routine, like all these external things. And I think that takes away from the actual value of what the cosmic self is, because it is a real conscious being on other dimensions. Your cosmic self is basically the consciousness beyond your human self, beyond your human expression. And it is a higher dimensional and therefore more knowledgeable version of you, and the link between source energy and your human self. Like I just said, it's basically the essence from which your soul projects into a human experience. So your cosmic self is the summary of everything and everyone you've ever been, during all of your incarnations on all different dimensions and planets. It holds so much information about you as a soul. It's unbelievable. So if you are able to channel this information and to access the vast knowledge that the cosmic self holds, you can get so much guidance in life, in your business, on your path to fulfill your mission on earth, whatever it is that you need help with and desire guidance with. You can give that to yourself by accessing this higher dimensional self. If I would have to explain what the cosmic self is, I would say imagine you as a human being in the third dimension. This is where our physical reality is. That is where your body is, where your friends are, where we meet and interact with each other. That's the physical realm, right? This is the third dimension. And then you can think of your thoughts, like whatever you imagine in your head, whatever thoughts you have throughout the day, the self-talk you have in your head, like the inner monologue. All of that is in the fourth dimension. You cannot touch it, it's not physical, but it's very interconnected with who you are in the physical realm. So that is located, you could say, located in quotation marks, in the fourth dimension. Your thoughts, part of your feelings, all of that stuff is fourth dimensional. If you go a little bit higher, there's the fifth dimension. This is a dimension that most people in the collective are not accessing very often yet, but a lot of people actually do. So the fifth dimension holds the understanding of oneness, that we're all connected, that everything in life is like a butterfly effect and everything is connected. Everything is based on action and reaction and on a chain kind of effect, like a domino effect. And a lot of people who are doing a lot of self-work, who are working towards a higher consciousness, they access the fifth dimension already by having just a deeper understanding of who you are as a soul. So you don't see yourself just as a human being or only as a human being. You see yourself as a cosmic being as well. And that is where the fifth dimension comes in. You could say dimensions are like layers, even though they are not there existing simultaneously as like a frequency that you can tap into. But to make it easier for you to understand, imagine them as layers. So there's your physical layer, then there's the layer of your thoughts, the layer of deeper understanding, which is 5D. And the higher you get, the more cryptic it becomes because it's less and less understandable from a human standpoint. But these layers and these dimensions go all the way up until there's only oneness. There's the Godhead, source, oneness, energy, source energy, whatever you want to call it. And in between you as the physical being and source energy, the Godhead, there is not just empty space. There's energetic copies and blueprints of you on all layers of different dimensions. So one of these copy is you in an astral body. That's where you go when you dream or when you astral travel. That's the body you use. You use your astral body. This is the fourth dimensions because dreams are based in the fourth dimension as well. You have a light body, which is the body of the fifth dimension, and you have all these different energetic bodies that are all part of you simultaneously. You cannot imagine it as separate beings, but more so as frequencies that all exist simultaneously that you can tap into. And you can gain more and more self-awareness, so more and more awareness of you existing on higher dimensions. The more you raise your consciousness, the more you tap into your multidimensional self. So while the cosmic being is one being, it's like a summary of all these layers, all these dimensions, as one being that is like a group consciousness of that being. So you can connect with your cosmic self as one being that holds all this information about you. But it's also a lot of individual aspects of who you are on different dimensions in different lifetimes. So there's two ways to connect with your cosmic self, either as the overall being, which is, you could say, the energetic body of your cosmic self as one being, as one identity. And there is a lot of different individual aspects of your cosmic self, which could be described as the energetic cells in the energetic body. So there's a lot about this topic, and I cannot go into every detail in this one episode, but just to break it down for you, it is something that you can tap into and something that you already are. There is no need to improve yourself first before being able to access your cosmic self, or there's no need to start a certain routine to vibe in a higher frequency. Like, none of that is the case. And I feel like this is often attached to the idea of a higher self, that it has to do with becoming a better version of yourself, reaching certain goals, reaching certain enlightenment, a certain amount of enlightenment or something like that. And the cosmic self is none of that. It's just like a cosmic truth that we as humans in the collective do not see, that we as humans have a hard time understanding, especially if you've never concerned yourself with spirituality. And for people who see all of this, all the spiritual teachings and all the knowledge, they just see it as an ideology or as a belief system. For them, it's hard to even grasp the idea of being a multidimensional being. But I assume as you're listening to this podcast, you can maybe not logically understand it yet, or you can, totally possible, but more so feel it, like the truth of that. And that's what I like to teach. It's even hard for me to explain it in a logical sense that makes logical sense to you then, because it's nothing that you understand with your mind. It's something you understand with your heart, with your intuition, and with your entire being. So that is like a long introduction into the topic, but I feel like it's necessary to give you some context on what I believe the cosmic self is from my experience. And the interesting part is that whenever I do work with my clients, maybe like a past life exploration or a channeling, like super spiritual work, there is always the aspect of the cosmic self coming forward that makes sense. So if you were to do a past life exploration and you get information about a past life, it doesn't mean that this is your only past life. You have thousands of them probably. And they're all existing simultaneously, because linear time is just a thing in the physical realm. It's not a thing anymore once you detach from your body. It's all happening at once, and you can just tap into different potentials of yourself and different energies, different frequencies, like a radio channel that you can dial. And whatever aspect is coming forward for my clients, it's always the one they most need in that moment. So you can assume whenever you are connecting with your cosmic self and you get information about a past life or about a parallel life, about a spirit guide, an ET guide, whatever it is, it's always the one thing that you need to hear right now, and that helps you to create context with your issue in this current physical human life. So whatever comes forward is directly or indirectly connected with the pattern you're moving through in this current life, or with something that helps you understand your current issue better and solve it. That is a super powerful thing, because we always get the information needed. And what sometimes happens with my clients is that they get a very strong image or a very strong message, and they cannot make sense of it. It's like, okay, I got this message. It feels real. It feels very strong. I feel about this kind of, I feel that it has like value emotionally, but I cannot make sense of it. And I always go like, sit with it a while, let it be for a while. And almost every time, a few weeks or months afterwards, they come to me and say like, hey, this information back then didn't make any sense when I first heard it, but now it makes total sense. I totally get now why I got these images or why I got this message, and it all like fell into place. And that's the power of the cosmic self. But we can only access this wisdom and this guidance if we detach from the belief of us needing to get there, us needing to become a better version for this guidance, because that's not true. Obviously, channeling and accessing your higher dimensional aspects, it all takes practice, but not because you cannot do it naturally. It's because you have to let go of the limiting beliefs that keep you from naturally being able to do it. You can do it. It's like, it's a thing that we as a collective have suppressed and we can no longer do in a collective way. But you as an individual, if you really want to do it, you're 100% able to do it. Everyone is naturally capable of channeling. It's nothing, and of like accessing information in general. It's nothing that is just for super enlightened people or super special people. It's something that everybody can learn. And it's more about overcoming the limiting beliefs and overcoming the belief of, I cannot do that. I need someone else to do it for me. rather than actually not being able to do it. It's just like a mind game. And we have these blockages in our mind that tell us, no, I cannot do that. So why would it work? And even if it works, I've seen that with clients as well. It works, and then they doubt the information that is coming through. So they're like, okay, I got this information, but maybe I just made that up in my mind right now. And I'm like, well, this could very well be the case. Like, I'm not saying that everything that you tap into is absolutely purely channeled. We do have like our own filters and our own belief systems that distort the information. But the more you practice and the more you do it, the more you align with the energy of your cosmic self, the clearer the messages become. And the clearer it becomes for you what is your own thoughts and what is actually channeled guidance right now. I also want to touch on the concept where the cosmic self is located. I kind of touched on it before, but I just want to make it really clear. Your cosmic self is not in one place. It spreads throughout different higher dimensions, higher than your physical dimension. And a dimension is not really a physical place. It's a frequency that exists simultaneously to the frequency of your physical human self and of all the other dimensions as well. So the higher the dimension, the less individual your cosmic self becomes until it merges back into the Godhead and with source energy. When you connect with a spirit guide that resides mainly on the fifth dimension or in the sixth dimension, you can get like an individual feeling of that spirit guide. You get maybe a visual. You get a visual of how they want to be seen by you, how they show themselves to you, or you get a name or a feeling of what this spirit guide is like. You have kind of like this feeling of someone standing in front of you, and you can feel their energy a little bit. That's what happens if they're really close energetically to who you are on the physical realm. The higher you go up, the more cryptic it gets. So if you would connect with a being or a guide from, let's say, the 11th dimension or the 12th dimension, it is very cryptic, and it can feel like you're connecting with something that is not very individual, that is not very capable of understanding reality in the same way as you do. And some people describe it as something that feels like it has no emotions, but I feel like that's a whole nother topic. But there are beings out there who are not positive, who can like lack an emotional body. But let's assume it is some of your guides or someone you want to connect with, a positive connection, and you feel like they don't have like the capability of understanding your emotions or your struggles. It's not because they're a evil being or a being that cannot feel emotion. It's because they are so aware and so enlightened in a sense that they know that everything is connected with everything else. Everything happens for a reason. Everything has a bigger picture. So because they know everything is basically the game of life and not real, it feels real once we are in the game of life and once we are acting in the simulation and learn from it. But from the higher perspective, it is very, very, very obvious that incarnating into the physical realm, having struggles, having challenges is not all that is. It's just like, I don't want to sound like I'm minimizing pain or I'm minimizing challenges, but from their higher perspective, they know it's not real. It's an illusion that feels real once you're incarnated in that illusion. But it's not the lack of emotion, it's the bigger picture perspective that can feel like lack of emotion. I hope this makes sense. So it's not that they're cold or that there's no emotional body attached to them. It's just they have such such a high perspective that they are almost unable to go into your perspective and really feel the struggle and the pain, because they know it all happens for a reason, it all happens for a purpose, and what you will gain from it on a soul level is so much deeper than what you're experiencing as you're going through the pain. So, rule of thumb, the higher you connect, the higher dimensional the being is that you connect with, the more cryptic it gets. And it can also feel like you're connecting to something huge. Like, one of my spirit guides gave me a name. It was about to share it, but I feel like I should not share it. But she gave me a name. It's a feminine energy. And she gave me a name, but at the same time, she feels very large. She's not an individual. She's like I would say, the energy of an entire galaxy somewhere in the universe. And it's a consciousness. It's like it is an individual being in that sense, but she feels so large and so big and vast that it's very much like connecting with an entire galaxy and every being in that galaxy at once. So it can feel like that as well. But when you are in the beginning stages of channeling, of connecting with other beings, it most likely is your closest spirit guides that come forward first. So it's a very pleasurable connection, and you most likely get some names, some visuals, how they present themselves to you. It's a very beautiful path to walk on when you're on a spiritual journey. And I always enjoy doing that with my clients especially when they've never done it before. It's like something so special I can share with them. I can witness them in like connecting with their guides and getting their first little messages and getting the shivers and starting to cry. It's like a very beautiful thing to witness. You may ask yourself if your cosmic self knows about you as a human. Do they know, or does it know of your human experience? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Your cosmic self can, in quotation marks, look down to your lower dimensional human self. But in contrast, you cannot as easily look up to your cosmic self to perceive it. You cannot just look up and see it like you would see a human being standing in front of you. But your cosmic self is fully aware of you, but you're not fully aware of your cosmic self unless you work on perceiving it, on connecting with it. As humans, we forget about it as soon as we incarnate on this planet, and we all agree to it before coming here. It's like a rule that comes with Earth. Once you come to Earth, you will forget everything. It's part of the game. It's part of the evolution. You have to remember, and it can take you thousands of incarnations. Are you okay with that? Yes or no? That's like the rules we agree to. And it is our task to remember that we are much more powerful than it seems and than we perceive ourselves to be. The reason why your cosmic self can look down on you, but you cannot look up to it as easily, is because dimensions are interwoven with each other. So you may have heard that we are ascending to a higher dimension as a collective, slowly but surely. And the way we imagine that is that it's like a jump from 3D to 5D, but it's not like that. It's like we are opening ourselves up to perceive more of the higher dimensions. We're not changing the dimension. We're not switching anything. We're just opening up our view and our perception to more of what already is there. And the cosmic self is on the higher dimensions. So it can look down on every lower dimension because it is included into its energy. It's already made the step of perceiving that higher dimension. So everything that's lower, everything that's below their highest dimension, they can perceive that. It's just how we as human beings can perceive the dimensions that are lower than our highest dimension. Let's make an example with a person that is spiritually connected and that connects with the fifth dimension sometimes by being aware of oneness, by meditating, by whatever it is. They can perceive the fourth dimension because they know they are not their thoughts. They are the being behind observing the thoughts. They can perceive the third dimension by perceiving their physical body, the physical reality. They can perceive the second dimension. The second dimension is, in very simple terms, the dimension of contrast or of duality. So this is green, this is not green. I want this, I do not want this. It's like a very rudimentary version of duality that we can perceive. This person can also perceive the first dimension, which is the pure state of being, beingness. So everything that this person has accessed already, the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth dimension, they can perceive that. Everything that is below the fifth dimension, they can perceive that. And same with the cosmic self. If an aspect of your cosmic self is on the 12th dimension, they can perceive all the lower dimensions. And because every aspect of your cosmic self is at least higher than the third dimension, they can always perceive you as a physical being and as everything that's lower than you as a physical being. So they are very aware, or your cosmic, I'm sometimes referring to the cosmic self as they and sometimes as it, because it is one being but has many aspects. So it's this paradox of being one being but also many beings. So bear with me if I change up the language sometimes. Your cosmic self can very well perceive you, and it wants to guide you. It wants to help you. It wants to give you information about what you're meant to do in life, about what your next step is. It will never interfere with your free will. You will always have the free will not to trust your intuition, not to trust your cosmic self, but it wants to guide you. And I said a key point here, intuition. That is one of the languages your cosmic self speaks with you. The two main languages that your cosmic self is able to talk to you through is your intuition and your emotions. That is why it's so important to get in tune with your intuition, because your intuition is always guiding you towards your highest timeline, towards what's meant for you and what's best for you. And sometimes that can mean that it's guiding you towards some challenges, but it never will guide you astray in the sense of you not getting something positive out of it, or some growth out of it, or something positive on a soul level out of it. Your intuition knows very well what you're meant to do, where you're meant to go. And what you have to learn is to trust it. Same with your emotions. It's like this inner guidance system that is not just a primal instinct, it's a highly spiritual tool. And in order to connect with your cosmic self, you need to learn to trust your intuition and fine-tune yourself towards its messages and hints, because your cosmic self is giving you hints all the time. It's highly advanced and very wise. It's a very wise consciousness that is actively communicating with you through your intuition, through your emotions, and your gut feeling. If you have never connected with your cosmic self before, I would highly suggest to connect with your intuition and try to listen to your intuition. Try to fine-tune yourself to get the messages and hints. Your intuition is fast and immediate. So if you're starting to think about something, or you're starting to have your thoughts circle around something, that is no longer your intuition. You're in your head. Your intuition is the first second, the first millisecond before your brain or your mind jumps in and tries to navigate. It's this very first instinctual feeling that you get when you have to make a decision, or when something happens, that whatever it is, your intuition can jump in any time. And you have to train yourself to catch that first moment before your mind jumps in and tries to rationalize it. The message that I want to end this episode with is that in the spiritual community, we are already too obsessed with self-improvement. And thinking of the cosmic self as a higher version of you that you need to level up to can be quite toxic. That's why I stay away from the term higher self. This kind of thinking can lead you further into the abyss of feeling not good enough, which is probably already prominent if you feel like the need to constantly self-improve. It's not about leveling up to some version of yourself. It's about realizing that you already are that higher version. And it's about removing the layers of illusion that make you believe you're not. It's all about seeing yourself for who you truly are. It's all about perceiving yourself as a cosmic multidimensional being. That is the main message I want you to take away from this today. If you have any questions about the cosmic self, if you would like to have me answer some questions in a new episode or something like that, feel free to message me on Instagram. It's @isabelgloria. It's linked in the show notes. Or send me an email to podcast@isabelgloria.com, also linked in the show notes. And I would love to go deeper into this topic. It's a topic that's very close to my heart, and I love talking about it. I know how powerful it is to connect with your cosmic self. I see it in my clients all the time. And I hope this was an inspiring little push towards more connection with your higher aspects for you. I will see you next week for a new episode, and I hope you're looking forward to the more spooky side in this month.